Welcome back. Today, we are diving deep into Genesis chapter 17. And let me tell you, this isn't just another chapter, it's a turning point in the entire story. It's about a life-changing promise that didn't just affect one family, it literally reshaped the future of the world.
Okay, so let's set the scene. I want you to picture this. The desert air is hot and still. All you can smell is dust. And we see a 99-year-old man named Abram looking out at the horizon. It has been 24 years. Think about that. Almost a quarter of a century since God first promised him a son. By now, you got to imagine that promise probably feels like a distant echo, almost forgotten.
So, that's really the big question for today, isn't it? What happens when you've been waiting for something for so long that it feels completely impossible? This story is all about that feeling. It's about faith, it's about huge changes, and it's about what happens when God shows up right when it feels like all hope is gone.
So here's our game plan for digging into this amazing chapter. We're going to walk through it step by step, from this mind-blowing divine encounter all the way to a challenge that, hey, might just change our own lives this week. All right, let's jump in. After more than 2 decades of what was probably just silence, the quiet is shattered. God appears to Abram. Now, the text doesn't give us all the flashy details, but you know it had to be awesome, powerful, so overwhelming that this 99-year-old man just falls flat on his face.
And right then, in that moment, God introduces himself with a brand new name, El Shaddai. This is so important. It means God Almighty. God is basically saying, hey, Abram, listen up. I am the God who can do anything. He's making it crystal clear that the impossible is about to happen. And God kicks things off with a condition and a promise. He says, walk before me faithfully and be blameless. Basically, live a good, honest life in my presence. And if you do that, then I will make my covenant between me and you and will greatly increase your numbers. A huge promise of growth is on the table.
And this leads us to the first massive change. You have to understand, back then, your name wasn't just what people called you. It was your whole identity, your purpose. So when God changes your name, he is literally changing your destiny.
Just look at the upgrade here. Abram meant exalted father, like, a respected family leader. But Abraham, that means father of a multitude. All of a sudden, his destiny isn't just about his own clan, it's global. Same for his wife. Sarai meant my princess, as in just Abram's. But Sarah means princess, period. A princess to everyone, the future mother of nations.
So let's get into the details of this promise, because this is where the whole agreement just becomes mind-blowingly huge.
But first, we gotta understand this word, covenant. A covenant is way more than just a contract or a simple deal. It's like the most serious, unbreakable, superglued promise you could ever make. It's a sacred relationship where both sides have a part to play, and God is promising he'll keep his end of the bargain forever.
And here are the terms of that incredible covenant. First, a promise of descendants so many you can't even count them. Second, not just people, but whole nations and even kings will come from his family. Third, a specific place to call home, the land of Canaan, forever. And last, but honestly this is the most important one, I will be their God. It's a promise of a real relationship.
So, when you make a promise this big, how do you seal the deal? God wanted more than just a memory. He commanded a physical sign, something permanent that would be passed down through every single generation.
God establishes circumcision as the physical mark of this covenant. Now, this had a really deep purpose. It was a permanent sign, passed from father to son, that they belonged to this special relationship with God. It was a mark of their identity, a constant physical reminder of this incredible promise God had made to them.
Okay, so just when you think the promises can't get any more wild, God drills down to the most immediate, the most shocking, and, let's be honest, the most humanly impossible part of the whole deal. 90. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's how old Sarah was. Her whole life, she hadn't been able to have kids. And now, at 90 years old, that's decades past the point where that was even a possibility. From our point of view, this isn't just unlikely, it's impossible. No way.
And then God just says it. So simple, so direct. Not, hey, it might happen, or let's hope. He says, your wife Sarah will bear you a son, and you will call him Isaac. It's a stunning, direct command that goes against all logic.
So how does Abraham react to this totally impossible news? He falls on his face again, and he laughs. But what kind of laugh is this? This isn't a laugh of doubt.
No, this is like an explosion of pure emotion. It's shock, it's awe, it's joy, and maybe a little bit of, "Are you serious?" all wrapped into one incredible moment. It's the sound of a miracle turning your whole world upside down.
And God totally gets Abraham's laughter. In fact, he embraces it. He tells Abraham to name the boy Isaac, which literally means he will laugh, so they'd never forget this moment. But God also shows his amazing compassion. Abraham is worried about his first son Ishmael, and God reassures him. He promises Ishmael will also be blessed, become a great nation, and have 12 rulers come from him. God's plan is big enough for everyone.
So here's the really important part. How does Abraham prove that he actually believes this unbelievable promise? It's not just by laughing or saying, "Okay, I believe you." It's what he does next.
And this timeline tells you everything you need to know about real faith. Do you see that phrase over and over? That same day. Abraham doesn't wait. He doesn't say, "Let me sleep on it." He gets the command, and on that very same day, he gets his entire household together, himself at 99, his teenage son Ishmael at 13, everyone, and they obey. That's not just belief in your head. That is faith in action, right now.
So what can this ancient story teach us about our own lives right here in the 21st century? How can it help us grow? Well, I think the biggest lesson is hidden in that powerful little phrase, "that very same day." The lesson is all about the power of doing things right now. So here's our challenge for the week for everyone. When you know there's something important you need to do, your homework, a chore, maybe apologizing to someone, try to do it that very same day. Don't put it off till tomorrow. And then talk about it as a family. Why is it so hard sometimes to just do things right away? And how awesome does it feel when you actually do?
And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. Abraham waited for decades for a promise that looked totally impossible. His story is a powerful reminder that even after a long time, and even when the odds are stacked against you, big transformations can happen. So what impossible promise in your life are you waiting for?
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Par Days. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.